When it made its premiere in 1967, the network didn't immediately think The Carol Burnett Show was going to be a sure thing. It was taking a risk on the female comedian, and it was a risk that soon paid off. Carol wasn't sure if her show was going to make it past the first season, so she was sure to let her cast and crew know the main goal for the production was to have fun. They certainly did, and having fun was fun for the audience to watch. The show became an unlikely hit, lasting for 11 seasons, with new episodes airing until 1978. But there was a time during the 5th season when Carol almost wanted to call it quits. Join Facts First as we explore why Carol Burnett nearly quit her own show. When Carol Burnett was first given her own show, she wasn't sure it would last past the first season. But it became a massive hit thanks to both Carol and her co-stars, including Harvey Korman. Carol and Harvey were quite the pair, and they always made sure to have fun above everything else. When they weren't sure if the show would make it, they felt that the least they could do during its limited production run was to have fun. Once the show became a hit, they figured they might as well keep doing it so long as it remained a good time for everyone involved. The Carol Burnett Show ended up being a good time for everyone indeed, lasting for 11 seasons before ending in 1978. They produced 279 episodes of the show. Harvey Korman left the show during its 10th season, with Carol's blessing, to start his own series. Harvey had been looking for a way to explore his own solo comedy for some time, having worked in the industry as a reliable performer for many years by that point. After Harvey called it quits on the show, it was only a year before Carol decided to follow suit. She tried replacing Harvey with Dick Van Dyke, but her writers had a hard time adapting to Dick's style after being so used to writing material for Harvey. Although the Carol Burnett Show lasted 11 seasons, there was a period during the midway point where Carol felt as if she was prepared to call it quits. This came during the 5th season, when both Carol and Harvey Korman felt they were getting bored with the show. According to Carol, she didn't feel as if she was being challenged enough by the material. Harvey concurred, and the two realized they would have to shake things up on the show if they wanted it to persevere. They decided they were either going to have to call it quits or make a change. Thankfully, they chose the latter, and the following years of the show ended up being arguably the most memorable of its run. Many of the more memorable and groundbreaking sketches came from its 6th season onward, when Carol was trying to push the boundaries of the format to keep herself entertained. She gave up traditional characters that were rooted in the past and some of her more broad physical comedy attributes, preferring a more subtle approach. The change-up proved the antidote that Carol and Harvey needed to keep the show going another several years. Carol stayed on the show for 6 more seasons before finally calling it a day, while Harvey stayed on for 5 more. Carol and Harvey maintained an incredibly amicable relationship over the course of working together, but that doesn't mean the two didn't have their spats. There was one memorable incident where Carol claims to have almost fired Harvey from the show during its 7th season. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like, and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already, and stick around for a lot more about Carol and Harvey. Although Carol and Harvey typically got along during production, there were periods where the two got into spats. One such period came during the 7th season, during filming of an episode in which future regular cast member Tim Conway made a guest appearance. According to Carol, Harvey was acting incredibly rude during the filming of the episode. Carol was able to handle when Harvey was rude to her, but she drew the line when Harvey was being rude to her guests. After Harvey snapped at Tim, Carol followed Harvey to his dressing room and confronted her co-star about why he was being so cranky. At this moment, Harvey told Carol to mind her own business. Given it was her show, Carol told Harvey that the way he behaved on set was certainly her business, particularly when it affected how comfortable others on set felt. Harvey didn't like Carol talking back to him, so he proceeded to back her out of the dressing room and slam the door in her face, claiming she had no right to dictate the way he behaved and felt. Blustered and unsure of what to do, Carol called up Harvey's agent and told him that if Harvey didn't get his act together, he was going to have to call that night's episode his last. After filming of the episode, Carol followed Harvey back to his dressing room once again and delivered him the news personally. Upon receiving this ultimatum from his co-star and boss, Harvey changed his tune. He begged Carol to allow him to make amends, and Carol told him he was welcome to continue performing on the series so long as he developed a more chipper attitude. Harvey reportedly came to set for the next episode's filming with a literal skip in his step, much to Carol's delight. Once Tim Conway joined the show as a regular cast member, he and Harvey developed a unique chemistry that brought some of the show's most memorable sketches. Not only did Carol's confrontation of Harvey cause him to behave better, but it also caused Harvey to venerate his female co-star and boss more than before. Harvey had always respected her, but he saw a different side of her when she confronted him with that fateful ultimatum. Apparently, Harvey went out for a drink with some of the show's cast members after the confrontation and gave a memorable toast to Carol Burnett after cheerfully telling the story to the other drinkers. Harvey Korman stayed on The Carol Burnett Show through its 7th season, but he didn't end up staying on the series until the end. He left after the 10th series to film his own solo series, an opportunity he'd been anticipating for many years. Carol knew Harvey was anxious for the opportunity, so she gladly gave him her blessing to leave her seminal series after the 10th season. Carol attempted to replace him with Dick Van Dyke, but Dick only lasted 10 episodes before giving up. According to Carol, she saw the beloved comedic performer's reasoning. Although Dick was certainly as talented of a performer as Harvey Korman, he didn't have the exact same skill set. After 10 seasons, the writers of The Carol Burnett Show had grown accustomed to writing for Harvey Korman, and they had a hard time transitioning into writing for a completely different type of male comedic performer. From Carol's perspective, the writers were still writing material that seemed like it was meant for Harvey, and Dick found himself out of his element. Carol told Dick he could quit the program early with no hard feelings, and the two remained friends. Carol then decided trying to find someone to replace Harvey Korman was an impossible task. Harvey had been a one-of-a-kind asset, and Carol didn't see any reason to continue the long-running series without him. The 11th season of the show was its last, and the final episode premiered before the end of 1978. The show went on to maintain popularity in syndication, with most of the episodes being from the 6th season onwards. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know Carol Burnett almost ended the show halfway through its run? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.